Hey guys, welcome to Planning with Crystal. So today's Nespresso video is all about the Aeroccino 3 milk frother. So we're gonna open this together, we're gonna make some drinks, and I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on this one. So it is literally brand new in the box, and I'm gonna be opening it for the first time. So inside we've got this, what appears to be an instruction manual. The booklets always seem to have an awful lot of pages, but generally that's just because it's in a number of languages. So a lot of it is just this simple instructions here about kind of how to clean it and how to set it all up, as well as like maximum levels for milk and stuff, which I'll talk about as we go through. Okay, so we have got the milk jug, a lid for the milk jug. And this has got an N on it for Nespresso, as well as a seal there around the outside. And then this, of course, is the base that the jug is going to sit on, along with the power cord, so that you can plug it in and get power to your milk machine. So when you're using it, it will just, of course, slot there. And in here is this little whisk thing, which sits kind of off to one side on this little nodule. And it kind of magnetizes in place so it doesn't fall out when you tip it up. So we'll give it all a bit of a clean, and then we will make some milk recipes. Okay, so in here we have 2 max lines, which seems a little bit random. According to the instructions, if you have the whisk so that this spring part sits on the bottom, then you can fill the milk up to the bottom of the 2 max lines. The one here that's kind of got like a circle thing in a circle.
And that lower level line is for creating the maximum amount of frothy milk. The line above it, that also says max, but is shown as a kind of circle with 2 lines sticking out. For that, you're actually going to remove the spring off the bottom of the whisk and fill to the higher of the 2 maximum lines, and that is the maximum amount of hot milk you can produce. Hot milk, steamed milk, whatever you want to call it, no froth.
So let's pop the whisk in and let's make a drink. So I'm going to start off by filling to that lower level. Suggest using refrigerated milk semi-skimmed, which is what I tend to use anyway. So you can just see I've gone to that first max fill line. If you use plant-based milks and things like that, I'll have to test it in here. But I know the barista machine, which I will also be reviewing on the channel, does accept any kind of plant milk and stuff. Okay, so we've now got our milk in the milk frother. Let's put the lid on and press the button. And you can see in there it's whisking away. Makes a little bit of noise, nothing too crazy. Okay, so when the milk is done, it's all nice and frothed to that lower level, which I think is more like a kind of cappuccino type froth. I'm going to pour it out for you in just a second, but first of all I just want to test the temperature of the milk. So I'm careful to put the thermometer in there without it actually touching the sides, because the sides are obviously metal and heat up, and therefore would give a bit of a skewed reading. Okay, so that's the reading I'm getting on the milk. So I've just got one of the little Nespresso recipe mugs, I think it's called, and you just quite simply pour it out. So it's just like a nice kind of steamed milk, and then all the froth kind of comes out on top. You can see a lot of it's kind of staying in there. It's kind of not the easiest to get out. I think I need a spoon. So I'm gonna get like a kind of big spoon. And then I can get the rest of it out.
Nespresso advise that you actually do this with a plastic spoon, not a metal one, to avoid scratching the insides. However, I don't own one of those. I just went with what I had.
Still a bit of foam and stuff kicking around in there. So then, of course, I can kind of go in, pour the coffee over this, or I can put the coffee in first and then do the milk. Okay, and I've just brewed a little espresso in my Creatista Pro. Did a whole video on that if you want to see that machine in a bit more detail. But essentially that is what the coffee is looking like just with an espresso in. Obviously I could put a higher volume of coffee, I could put like a lungo in there, or I could use my Virtuo to produce a larger coffee. I could of course split this across like 2 smaller drinks, like a cappuccino, so I'd probably do an espresso in each cappuccino cup and then top it off with the milk, but you can kind of do whatever you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a Virtuo, so a larger coffee, and I'm gonna obviously make some more milk in this, but this time we're gonna go up to that maximum level. For the maximum level, it seems to suggest taking off the whisk, which I took off to clean anyway, and just using this part of the device, although this isn't super clear on the instructions. We'll see what happens. So I popped it back in place where it was before, and we're going to be going up to the higher of the two maximum levels. So it suggests putting the lid on. I'm actually going to keep the lid off just so I can kind of show you what that looks like. And I'm going to speed this part up because it will take a couple of minutes. Okay, so the milk is done. I'm going to pour it out for you in just a second. Here is the reading I'm getting for this milk. So I've just brewed a coffee in my Virtuo. This is a grand lungo size, so like 150 mils. And I'm just going to top it off with milk because I think this is something I would probably use it for quite a lot. And that's how that looks. And then I'm just going to get this other cup because there is some milk left. So if preparing a larger coffee using the larger setting on here, you could absolutely do a big drink and a small drink. And for the kind of consistency of this one, it's a lot more kind of latte-like, I would say. So it's just more like a liquid steamed milk, whereas the first milk setting, the lower of the two in the jug, produced this kind of frothier cappuccino type drink. So it all depends on what you're after and how much milk you're wanting to prepare. Now they are a max level line, so I would say in terms of actually using this then, the lower level max line, like I said, produced this really kind of cappuccino frothy type milk, and the higher level line just gave you more of this kind of steamed milk that we've got here. Now it's actually the whisk that's producing the type of milk, so if you want that more sort of steamed latte milk, then you would use your whisk like this. If you want the kind of cappuccino frothy milk, then you're just going to pop your whisk back there on the bottom and it will give you that effect. In terms of the amount of milk you're producing, if you use the lower level, you can use it on either setting, so you can use it for the frothy milk or the sort of thinner milk, just so long as you kind of fill it up at least to where it says max. If you do it too low, it just isn't going to froth because it has to hit certain points of the whisk in order to actually froth the milk. And obviously if you want a bit more milk, go up to max level, but then you're going to need to remove the bottom of the whisk so that it's not kind of overflowing. So my thoughts on this machine, it is a lot more basic than say the barista machine or even the Aeroccino 4. But, you know, it has its place. It's super simple, really easy to use. Put your milk in, put your whisk in, click the button, you've got hot milk. Super easy to clean, although it is hand wash only. You can't put any of the parts in the dishwasher, so that might be a consideration. But it is quite low price compared to some of the other milk machines that Nespresso sell. Like I said, the barista is considerably more expensive. And if you would like to see the barista and my review of that, and I'll also be doing a comparison with this one, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified when my next video goes up. I'll also link some other Nespresso videos I've done at the end of this one. And if there's anything in particular you would like to see, just let me know if you've got any questions, etc. And I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. It lets me know you're enjoying the content I'm producing. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.